five senses are a decoding system. The most obvious one, of course, is sound. That's a vibration, comes to the ear, message to the brain, brain hears the sound. There is no sound until we've decoded it as so. Sound is just a vibration until we've decoded it. Sound exists in here. Same with taste. Electrical signals to the brain decodes it. This is how you can, through stage hypnotists, etc., get someone to eat a potato but taste an apple. Because you implant the belief here that it's an apple, and so the electrical signal with the potato code goes there, and it doesn't read it like that, it reads it as an apple. Even on that basic level, think of the potential for manipulating the way we see reality individually and collectively. And different parts of the brain, like with smell, are specifically there in the body computer to decode those senses. Same with touch. Exactly the same. Even movement. There is no movement until we've decoded that movement. There are conditions of the brain, which some people have, where they don't decode movement. So often they don't even see it. They'll see a car in the distance, the next thing, whoa, it's gone. Nothing in the middle. They see someone pouring a cup of tea, and all they see is a static arc of tea. It's all an illusion. It's a computer game. Now, some scientists, over the years, have postulated that this physical world only exists when it's observed. I agree. Why? Because of this. When you put a computer disk into a computer, it does not read all the information on the disk at the same time. It reads that part that it is observing, whatever that laser's hitting at the time. All the other stuff is still in information form. It's not been transferred to the screen as pictures, etc. And we do the same. When we observe, decode, then we bring it into this reality. But without that, this is just the base vibrational metaphysical universe, which is the basis of all of it. Then no light gets in the brain. So how do we see light? How can I look at that light and see it? No light ever gets in the brain because the brain's decoding information into that light. So when you see things like in the Matrix movies, those lines, death is just putting the telescope down. Well, I've had enough of that. Earth's a shitty place. Hello, all right, I'm back. You never went away. The computer's here. We are observing through the computer. And I want to make the difference, because this will go through the day, the difference between consciousness and what I call the mind. Everything is the same energy in the end, because it's just one unified awareness I call the infinite. But it takes different expressions. Consciousness is the ocean. All possibility, all that is, all awareness. And the mind is like a frozen, denser expression of that, and therefore has great limitations in terms of awareness and perception compared with that. And one of the reasons is to interact with this reality, which is much denser than consciousness, we have to have a denser conduit, which we call the mind-body. Therefore, it has to be more limited than consciousness itself. This guy, Ramana Maharshi, a man who lived in India and meditated for most of his life on a mountain in India. I've actually been there. Nice place. He said, mind is consciousness which is put on limitations. You are originally unlimited and perfect. Later, you take on limitations and become the mind. Or as Einstein put it, a human being is a part of the whole called by us universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts, his feeling, as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. And that optical delusion comes from looking through the lens, the telescope. And what it does, and I keep saying that it's amazing that mainstream science has sussed most of this, but doesn't realize it as, because all the disciplines don't talk to each other. When you connect the dots, you realize they've already established that this is an illusion. But that doesn't go down well because it's too close to the truth. And how I experienced that state beyond this world, beyond vibration, was as stillness and silence. And that's what all possibility is, the stillness and the silence. There was a great line that voice said to me when it was explaining the nature of reality. It said, if it vibrates, it's illusion. If it vibrates, it's illusion, because our core level is stillness and silence. I experienced that. Amazing feeling. There are no negative emotions, there's no fear, there's no worry about not making the rent and all this stuff. They've all gone in that realm. And people think of nothing. All that is, has been, whatever can be. That's all potential, all knowing. And everywhere and nowhere. People think that's a paradox. You can't be everywhere and nowhere, but you can in all possibility. In all possibility, everything is possible. So everywhere is nowhere. Nowhere is everywhere. Everything and nothing. Again, not a paradox. All possibility is everything and nothing. And as I was saying, we think of nothing as nothing's there. There is nothing. But within the nothing, within the silence, is everything. Within the silence, for instance, is all possibility. And then when I start talking, I have pulled one possibility out of all possibility, which is manifest as vibration, my voice. And then I stop. It goes back into all possibility. We don't think that this building is defined by the nothing. We think it's defined by the something. But the something is only there, and this building is only in its form because of the no thing, apparently no thing, in between what we perceive as the something. The silence is, this is why time and space are just information within the metaphysical universe fabric, the vibrational fabric, which we then decode into what appears to be time and space. There is no time and space. When you put a disk in a computer, it's got information on it. You put it in the computer reads it. On the screen, you see time and space, or what appears to be time and space. But all it is information on the disk being read by the computer and being put on the screen. That's what we are doing all the time. Time's an illusion. And my goodness me, if we fall for that, then we totally get encompassed by time, that time exists. You can say it's 1 o'clock, I've got to meet someone at 1 o'clock, so you're there at the same time and synchronize that. But all along, you know that it's just a construct. It's not part of you this time, because no time is where consciousness operates. And if we operate completely connected to time, then by that very nature, we're going to disconnect from consciousness, which is on another level of perception. Our time is just crazy. You cross an invisible line in the ocean, you go into tomorrow. You go the other way, you go into yesterday. There is only the now. That's all there is. People say, no, there's the past and there's the future. Well, okay. When you think of the future, where are you? You're in the now. When you think of the past, memories, where are you? You're in the now. These are constructs. These are perceptions. They're not real. Only thing that's real is now. Everything happens in the now. And the only moment we can change anything is in the now. And if we get pulled into the past, all regret, I wish I had, oh, that woman in 1953, ooh. Or we get pulled into the future, oh my God, what's going to happen? Oh, yeah, outcome, oh, what if? Then we're getting pulled out of the only time that exists, and therefore our power to change things, to impact on now, is diluted. And we are absolutely dominated by time. What's the time? Oh my God, it's not the time. Oh my goodness, what's going to happen? Are you going to get time? Oh, I'm late. And yet, the now is the only thing that exists, and time, like space, is a perception. It is part of the construction of reading. You could see time in a way like a disc, like a DVD. What you've seen in the film is your past, as you perceive the past. What you're looking at in the film at that moment you perceive as the present, and what you've yet to see in the film you perceive as the future. Yet all that information exists on that disk at the same time. And what happens is the left half of the brain particularly decodes this information, which is vibrating in the now, it decodes it into a sequence. It's what some brain scientists call the left brain a serial processor. And it's this sequence that it puts the information in that appears to be the passage of time from past to future. The quicker it decodes it, the quicker time seems to move, the slower it decodes it the reverse. This is why, as Einstein said, if you're in the company of a beautiful woman, time can pass very quickly, but if you're in a dentist chair, it can pass very slowly, because your brain is decoding reality in a different way, putting it into a sequence in a different way. And so the time loop is actually just the decoding of this changing vibration, changing information. And again, if you could, the world looks so solid, I grant you, but it can't be. It can't be, even though it seems to be. And if you bang your head on the wall, again, like walking through the fire, believing you're going to get burned, bang, you'll bang your head. But it can't be, because the world is made up of atoms, and as quantum physicists have shown, atoms have no solidity. How can something which is basically empty space make up a solid world? It can't. The reason it appears to is because the information in the waveform metaphysical universe is decoded through into apparent solidity. Again, it's just the way we decode reality that gives it form. And then you have the question, how can something be a waveform and a particle at the same time, which is what quantum physics has found and gone, what? How can that be? Very simple. When you're creating a hologram, the waveform doesn't disappear when the hologram projects itself. They both exist at the same time, the information construct and the decoded holographic form. The particle and the waveform exist at the same time. It's so bloody simple. People think it's so complex. And some near-death experiencers have experienced and then come back to tell the story of what they've experienced when they've been through, sometimes they experience it as a tunnel, and then come back when their body releases the consciousness for a short time. And this is one that encapsulates all of it. He said, everything from the beginning, my birth, my ancestors, my children, my wife, everything comes together simultaneously. I saw everything about me and about everyone in me. I saw everything they were thinking now, what they thought then, what was happening before, what was happening now. There is no time, there is no sequence of events, no such thing as limitation of distance, of period, of time, of place. I could be anywhere I wanted to be simultaneously.